Mindfulness is placing your focus, your awareness, your attention to the present moment or to whatever it is that you are doing right now. Most of the time, we have been conditioned to automate a lot of things, but becomes problematic when it gets out of hand and we're not aware. Hey guys, on this video, we'll be talking about my top 5 tips on how to practice mindfulness. I'm Meggy. On this channel, we'll be talking about my journey into self-development, spirituality, maybe some tarot cards, and a lot of esoteric stuff. So if you like those kinds of things, feel free to subscribe to this channel. So let's start with what is mindfulness? How does it differ with what we are already doing in our day-to-day? For me, how I understand awareness or your focus is when you go to the gym and when you work out. Remember when the coaches or people on YouTube tell you that you have to have the mind-body connection? That is awareness. When you're lifting weights or when you're doing the squats and you don't know which body part you're activating, then you're mindlessly doing the action, and it's actually not that efficient as compared to when you focus and you put your attention on this part of your body and you activate that to do the work. Then the workout becomes more efficient and you get results faster. Another one would be driving a car, being in the driver's seat, looking sideways, looking forward. Mindlessness is when you press the autopilot of your car and then you just let go of all of your focus and even your attention to the road. That is mindlessness. But when we become aware and we are focused, even when it's on autopilot and we are present, then that as well is powerful because we do that in our everyday life, in our work. So when you become aware of every single thing you do, then you become more efficient, you live life fuller, and you experience life. That's the beauty of life, is experiencing things here in the now. Another way I see mindfulness is us becoming an observer of ourselves, becoming the observant. I will explain this to you further down the video. The key here is for us to remember and relearn how to be mindful. Why do we even want to be mindful? Why do we need to be mindful? At one point in my life, I was very addicted, I would say, to social media. I would scroll through every single day mindlessly, just scrolling. Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, whatever it is there to consume. And I felt very anxious. I felt like my days were just gone. And I would be like, where did the day go? So that is not how I want to live my life. And that was a wake-up call for me as well, because it was really triggering a lot of anxiety and self-pity, victimization, all of those low vibrational energies, and it wasn't helping me. This leads to why we would want to be mindful is for self-development. And I find that practicing mindfulness really helped and helps me a lot with learning about myself, how I think, how I want to be, how I want to be treated, what I want to become, and how I want to live life now. It's also letting go of bad behaviors and bad habits that I've acquired through the years and being aware that some of those things that have been programmed or ingrained in my mind, being aware of them and actually being able to reprogram, delete all those things that do not serve me, do not help me become better, do not help the people around me. So mindfulness really helped me with self-development. I read in a book entitled Zen Keys that enlightenment is when you reach a point where you are totally in the present moment for the whole 24 hours. You are fully present in the moment. You're not zoning out or going in the future and going to the past. You are fully here. I think that was really insightful. How or what can we do to practice our mindfulness? My number one tip is, after waking up, you reflect on death. I got this idea from a monk on YouTube, and for me that was so powerful. I'm not saying reflect on death and be scared of life. What I mean is reflect on death so that you can live a fuller life. We always think that today is promised, tomorrow is promised, but tomorrow and today is not promised. I think that this becomes a catalyst for you to focus and to do your best every single day, to be present, to experience, to give love, to receive love. Second on the list would be meditation and or breathwork. There was one point in my life that I was in really deep depression. I was so anxious. I was always, every single day I was having anxiety attack. And I wanted to practice meditation because this is how you control your anxiety. So now I've tried to practice meditation and I really wanted to know how to meditate, but I didn't know where to start. So I started with just focusing on my breath and focusing my attention on breathing in. How does it feel like passing through my lungs, and focusing on where my breath is. That was, I think, the very basic of it. And at one point, it became focusing on different parts of my body, focusing my attention on my hand. How does it feel like? What does the space within my hand feel like? What does the space around my hand feel like? So it's more of expanding my focus and awareness of everything around me. Now, when we practice meditation or breath work, it's very difficult for your brain to be thinking because you're focusing on something. You're focusing on where your hand is. And so this really helps you develop that awareness, develop how to bring yourself back in the present moment, how to anchor yourself, especially when you realize that you are drifting away or you're zoning out. Then you can start focusing on your breath or focusing on a part of your body that anchors you down to the present moment. And that really helps you become more mindful. When we meditate, we become aware and we become the observant of our thoughts, our behavior, our body, everything. So when you're mindful, you observe, you do not engage, you become present and you become in control of your life. I hope that makes sense. My next tip is to do daily chores in actions that we don't necessarily need to think. This is the moment that we could really utilize our mindfulness and focus because you can be fully aware. You don't need to think. Unlike when you're at your job, or you have to think in the future tense, in the past tense. So when you do daily chores, when you don't need to think about anything, then you can focus all your attention on the action at hand. What I do is, and this is one tip that I found really helpful from Marie Kondo, the tidying up your house, giving gratitude, even if it's something that's not alive, giving gratitude to things. Like, for example, when you're washing your dishes, you say, thank you for allowing me to eat this meal. Or when you're folding your clothes, thank you for making me feel good in this t-shirt. Thank you for covering me up today, for making me feel happy, for supporting me. Thank you. So you're giving gratitude to whatever it is that you're doing. So even if you're sweeping the floor, or you're mopping, or you're dusting, or you're watering your plants, you say, thank you for giving me joy. Thank you for life. And when you practice that, it becomes a habit that you carry with you anywhere. It gives you a lot of high vibrational energy, makes you feel good. You experience a lot of love and gratitude. And when you give more gratitude, then the world gives you more things to be grateful about. And that's one of the tips for you to enjoy doing your chores. My next tip is to journal. There's actually a lot of ways to journal. And you can play around, you can try different ways of journaling, whichever way feels right for you. But I would highly encourage you to do this because it has a lot of benefits. Mostly when you journal, you become more aware of your actions, your behaviors, your thoughts, and it just gives you more awareness about your internal world. One thing that I learned from life is that you can never change anybody. Yes, you can influence them. Yes, you can share things to them so that they can change, but ultimately you cannot change anybody. But what you can change is yourself. And this is the inner journey. And when you journal, then you become aware of your internal world. you write down everything. For example, there's a gratitude journaling where you write down everything that you're grateful for. The good you see in others' journal, which is whenever you notice that you're nitpicking someone or you're being critical of someone, then you try to write down on your notebook what are the good things that you see in that person. So it trains you to change your mindset. So now this brings you to self-development. When you become aware of things, when you become aware that, oh, I'm being critical because I'm aware, when you are aware, you can change and redirect your attention to what are the good things that I see in this person. Mindfulness really helps you develop a lot of good habits and helps you change your perspective. There's shadow journaling, there's venting journal, and there's a meditation journal, and there's a lot of other kinds of journaling that you can search on YouTube. And journaling in general is just really helpful to understand your inner being, understand yourself. When we understand ourselves, then we start to develop ourselves. The last tip I can give you is, I just noticed this about myself, and if this resonates with you, feel free to try it. This is to focus on a primary sense. And what I mean by that is when we focus on the primary sense, we become more in tune and hyper-focused and more present in the moment. Let's say, for example, you're reading a book. Then all your focus must go to your eye. So what I do here is I use a headset and I just put it on my ear so that there's no sound that would distract me, and you become hyper-focused because there's not a lot of stimulation happening. So you become more focused and you become more in the now and in the moment. Another example would be when you're meditating. So when we meditate, most of the time we close our eyes. And why is that? Because when our eyes are open, then we have a lot of things that could distract us. So when we close our eyes and we focus on our internal, on feeling, or maybe you're playing a high vibrational music in the background, then you can focus on the sound, or you can focus on placing your attention in your body. For me, that really helped me with my everyday life, because it's not like every day we can just meditate while at work. So when we have to go to work, then when you do something, you focus. This actually connects with, I listened to this audiobook that said that multitasking is not efficient and it's not really effective, and they made a study about this, and that one of the similarities of top performers are that they focus on one thing at a time. So multitasking does not work. So when you focus on one task, and when I focus on one sense, then I become more efficient, I become more focused, and I become more present. Ideally, we want to practice this every single day. Make it a habit to create a morning routine and a night routine for yourself where you practice mindfulness. And trust me, when you keep practicing this, everything just clicks. And then when it clicks, even when you're at work, you become more mindful, and it will help you experience life better, and it will help you develop yourself to become a better person. And by the way, if you're interested in some reading materials about mindfulness and just being in the present moment, I highly recommend Zen Keys by Hanh and The Power of Now by Eckhart Tolle, and Breaking the Habit of Being Yourself by Dr. Joe Dispenza. You can find that one, I think you can find it on Amazon, or I think there are some audiobooks on Audible about that. These books have been really helpful for me in my journey to self-development. That's it for today, and I'll see you next time. Remember that you are beautiful, you're abundant, you are limitless, and you deserve everything. I'll see you on the next video. Bye.